Well, today I'm going to be dealing out a little unsolicited free coaching advice. You know what? I think you want to feel like you're leaving each session feeling like you could have done more. And this is leaving room for the absorption that you're not really all that aware of within each session. And the reason for that is because we're so engaged with it, right? We're so engaged with it. We're not actually cognizant of the longitudinal impact that that's having on our program. Now, there actually is a problem with feeling good in that it encourages people to push out until they feel bad again, which is a strange paradox, right? When you really think about it, our tendency is to push out when we feel good. And I mean, I'm no different. I'm the same. I still, if I do a training session now, I still have that feeling. I'm feeling good. I want to push out. But is that the best mode that takes us into the future? Because in actual fact, the practice would be better served by preserving it, by preserving that feeling of feeling good, feeling strong. And the only way to do that is to make sure that you don't completely empty the tank in any one session. That when you're feeling good like that, that you don't empty it. It's not a bucket. We're not emptying it down the drain, right? We're building some buffer in there. So just so you know, my vision as a coach is zoomed out. And I think I speak for a lot of coaches when I talk like this. I mean, I'm thinking about months. I'm not thinking about days. I'm thinking about anything that will make you stronger in the long term, in the big picture. And the only way that that happens is if an athlete has absorbed it, if the athlete has soaked it up. Then we get to a point where the consistency causes the resiliency. When we get conditioned, when we get tough, that's how we do it. And we only get that by leaving a buffer so we can get out of bed the next morning and train again, right? And do you know that a few good months is much more useful than a few good weeks? And a few good years is massively protective in terms of making you bomb-proof, making you the athlete that you actually want to be when you look at it, right? And I know this from years of incoming experience. And so the point is to stay in the game. And to stay in the game, you always need to leave something in reserve. You need to leave something in reserve in this session. You need to leave something in reserve in this week, in this month, and in this year. And this is something that we don't read when we read about the volumes and loads of pro triathletes, or any pro athlete for that matter. But let me assure you, this is a primary concern, right? Not the breakout sessions or the breakout weeks, but the buffer that we're leaving there in order that we can get out of bed and feel strong again tomorrow, next week, next year. It's a linear path that we need to be aware of in this moment. And do you know that when we read about these incredible training volumes and incredible loads that these professional athletes do, that's only made possible because of the years of the consistent background that they've done. And if we keep that philosophy in mind, it'll serve you so well, because you'll get up tomorrow, you'll get up next week, you'll get up next month, and you'll get up next year. And before you know it, you'll reach the potential that you've always looked for. And while ever we're trying to extract potential from a short-term outcome, we're robbing our longitudinal potential. We're robbing our long-term talents. And all it is the most simplistic view of breaking down our training so we always leave a buffer. So that might mean that you leave a session, only have pushed yourself to 90% of the load, always leaving a few percent underneath so that you can extract the same thing from yourself again and again and again. Then on race day, we can reasonably expect that we're going to be able to push into a zone that we haven't been to before, right? 5% of what we've done before. And you can only extract that when you've left something in the bank, when you've left something physically and psychologically behind in training, so you can extract it during that race, during that performance. And if you continue that time and time again for years, you'll get the outcome you're looking for. And I hope that helped. Thanks for listening.